Mrs. Silvana Serbanescu, a UK Jolly Phonics professional trainer. Silvana is an experienced ESL teacher and manager of the independent educational company Jolly Star Learning Centre. She conducted workshops across Romania and the Republic of Moldova on developing children's reading and writing skills using Jolly Phonics, a fantastic synthetic phonics program which has been validated by the British Department for Education. She also provided the teacher training in the pilot program conducted by the Ministry of Education and Jolly Learning UK in various counties across Romania.
Good afternoon to all the exceptional, professional-driven teachers. I'd like to start with something that we can all assume is true. Do you agree that writing is an important, powerful mark of an individual? We are what we are writing. That means that, in a way, a person's image is revealed in a nutshell by any piece of writing that he or she is producing, be it a WhatsApp message, be it an email, be it a job application or a purchase order request. Based on the writing produced, we can infer if a person is well educated, if he or she is a good professional, if they are well organized, if they are trustworthy. Not to mention the fact that on social media nowadays, we get to know people through their writing. Sometimes, even before meeting someone in person, we get to know what they think by what they are writing. We go and check what they wrote a week ago or a year ago. So here's a challenge for you. I really want to know your opinion on these particular questions regarding writing education in our classes. I've got here some questions, and I'm also going to, wait a minute, place a survey in the chat. Please take a few minutes, open the link, and answer the 3 questions. Please use the link. I'm going to share the results with you in a minute. I think we are all curious to find out what the general understanding is. Let's see what we all think on this subject. So the first question was, do you think that the children in our classes write more than they used to do 10 years ago? And most of you said no. You think they write less. Most of you said that you think they write less. Are your students' writing skills better than they were, I don't know, with the generations 10 years ago? And from what I see, you are confident, you are positive about a raise in the quality of the writing. Do you think you do enough to teach writing in your classes? No, said most of you, but it's actually the same number with not sure. Yes, yeah, maybe sometimes we are not sure how we can address this bulky topic at an early age. So, yes, you are right. We are writing more than we used to write 10 years ago. And so do the kids in our classes. The rapidly advancing technology makes communicating and writing more accessible, faster, more convenient. You could see that, and you can see that the kids around us write more and outside the class. So if they write more and in various contexts, we might actually deduce, we might infer that their writing skills got better. Here's where the problem begins. Because this is what the statistics says. They've been measuring the writing skills with kids, and apparently there is a decrease. There's a decreasing trend for the last 9 years in the writing SAT scores. Then a quarter of the students, only a quarter of the students, proved proficient in writing. And then less than half of them are able to take an ACT writing exam, which is still required by a lot of universities worldwide and measures the writing abilities at college level. So this is actually the standard. These are actually the results measured at a higher level. And yes, we might blame technology for the lack of formality. We might also blame spelling checkers that our students use more and more. We may also blame AI generated content. But is there something we can actually do as educators with our young schoolers at a crucial age in their developing to actually make sure that we can build upon their writing skills? Because you probably notice around yourself in your classes that kids are able to text messages, short messages. They are able to choose the right emoji and the right GIF, but they fail to choose the appropriate um, form of the your. For example, the correct spelling of your. This one is taken from the Palace of Parliament, by the way, which speaks more of this lack of formality that is everywhere around us due to technology. Of all the four skills, reading, writing, speaking, listening, that are used to approach learning a new language, writing is the one that scares students and educators the most. And that's because writing is a productive skill, like you know. That means the student's success is measured by their ability to produce a correct, meaningful message on a white sheet of paper. Speaking is also a productive skill, but it comes with some helpers, doesn't it? Our voice, our tone, our intonation, the mimic of the face, the body language sometimes adds meaning to the produced message. Whereas with writing, most of the time, our students are left helpless without any support to face a white sheet of paper. Quite scaring, right? On the other side, just like you said, I'm not sure if I'm doing enough in my classes, was your answer. Because of this informal education that our kids get more and more nowadays, educators are no longer sure on how to teach writing to elementary students. Because outside the classroom, no one writes essays anymore, yeah? Instead, we write emails, blog posts, short messages. Therefore, teaching young students to write formally may seem like a difficult task, especially when they are communicating with one another among students a lot using different media. So, students panic when they face formal writing. We, as teachers, are no longer sure how to do it. No wonder that writing scares us a lot, and no wonder that this has come to be a completely underdeveloped skill. Yes, it's not at risk, though. Speaking is a skill that is nowadays at risk. Yes, because you've seen again kids preferring to communicate sending messages instead of speaking. Not at risk yet, but the way we are doing our jobs as teachers for primary school children will depend the standards and the performance that Tom and Margaret talked about earlier. So for the coming minutes, I'll share with you some ideas that you can use in your classes to help your students develop their writing skills overall. Now, primary school that we work in is actually the place where children first learn how a language operates. And they are supposed to grasp vocabulary, spelling, grammar, to express ideas and thoughts in a concise and organized way. So, vocabulary, spelling, and grammar. Many areas, important areas that interrelate, intertwine, and that determine a student's rate of success or failure. Not to say that the pace we are actually our students to learn and succeed is exceptionally fast. By the time they get to secondary school or to the high school, we actually expect them to be able to produce multi-paragraph essays with arguments and supporting evidences and conclusion, pieces of expressive writing that would give pleasure to the reader. So what I mean by saying this is that writing takes time. It's a long process, but there are certainly things we can do step by step. But my number one piece of advice is be patient. This is one skill that will develop by doing a bit every day. Now, these are the most common hurdles that our children encounter when approaching writing in English. And in order to improve their writing skills, we need to address each of these areas. You can easily spot in your classes a struggling child, can't you? By having a look at what they are writing, by having a look at the way they behave in the classroom. Most children who struggle to write will have very weak knowledge of spelling and or very weak knowledge of grammar. They will sometimes lack ideas and also lack a structure of putting their thoughts in order on the white sheet of paper. So, besides this, what's also very important is their attitude. You might see a struggling child because sometimes he is unwilling to participate in the class assignments just because they know or they feel they can't do it. In terms of spelling, now it's been widely acknowledged that children prepare to write long before they are actually able to hold the pen and paper in their hands and form letters. They prepare for writing by listening to stories, to songs, to rhymes, by tuning in their ears, refining their what is called phonological awareness, and by learning to listen to sounds. Again, it's widely acknowledged that a language, be it English, is actually a code, just like maths and music. And considering all this, the approach to writing in England changed starting 2005 and is more and more done worldwide using phonics. That means children are taught so as not to guess words anymore, but they learn the correspondence between the letters and, groups of letters maybe, and the sounds they produce. That means that they learn to listen to the sounds in a word. They hold up a finger for each sound they hear in a word. They listen carefully to all the sounds, not just the initial or the middle or the last one. And then they write down letters corresponding to those sounds. This is actually, the mechanics behind the writing process. And yes, in our classes, because I teach primary school children that I introduce to written English, we start with the sounds of English. 42, we tell a story, and we sing a song, and we move, and we play different games for each sounds until they come to the moment where they actually are able to hear the sounds in a words and write letters for these corresponding sounds. Now, let me just show you a bit what the first step in spelling would be. For example, dictation is very important in terms of spelling. Yes, these are the first exercises that we guide our kids through. Dictation is very valuable in the class because kids have the opportunity to practice this correspondence that I mentioned. So, for example, if they have a word like
chip,
I expect that the kids in my class will go ch, this is the first sound, ch, e, p. And they will write the letter or letters for those sounds. Ch needs two letters, ch, e, p. Yes. How many sounds? Ch, e, p. 3. How many letters? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 letters. Let's try another one together.
pinch,
Pinch. How many sounds do we have? P, E, N, Ch. So we go P. The kids will go P, E, N. And for Ch, again, I'm going to need 2 letters. Another type of exercise that would develop, for example, their spelling ability will be this one. Yes, fill in with the missing sound. And I've got here the sounds ch, sh, and the very tricky yeah, which is typical of English. So when we go, for example, with the first word, and we've got
chest,
the kids will be able to, again, hear for all the sounds and make out that the missing sound is ch. And they will know that for the ch sound, they are going to need these 2 letters. If I have a word like
3,
they will realize that the missing sound is the tricky v sound, and so on. So, again, in terms of spelling, we start with very simple words. Yes, we start with words that are based on consonant, vowel, consonant, like, for example, the word mug. And then we advance into words that include, for example, 4 sounds or include a consonant blend, like the word, for example, spoon, or the word mend. And then later on, we move into the more advanced code, and we include diagraphs or groups of vowels, for example, like in the word found. Now, while working with primary school kids and guiding them into their writing, I noticed that using a phonetic approach, no matter which one, helps a lot with this generation of kids because they no longer rely on their memory in order to be able to write. Anyway, memory is such a limited ability. So using the code, using this correspondence between the sounds that they hear and the letters they need to write, they will be able actually to write anything by dictation and later on to write down any word that comes with ideas and thoughts into their mind. So it's quite a valuable and helpful approach with this generation of kids, also considering the limited span of attention. I'm very curious. Do you know how long the span of attention is? I mean, for how long can kids actually stay focused on a task? Any idea? Less than a minute. 15 minutes? Oh, you're optimistic. No. 5 minutes, it's still much. You'd be surprised. 9 seconds, great. You're about that, yes. About 8, 9 seconds. So this is what a study in 2015 indicated. Yeah, 9 seconds, about 8 seconds. So you see, we are trying to build writing skills with our kids, and yet their span of attention is so limited. So considering this, we definitely need to change activities, keeping in mind the same approach. And for this reason, introducing kids to written English, which is not a reliable, transparent code, is not a small task. I've got another question because I see you are getting talkative. Do you remember which was your first piece of writing? Do you remember what was the first thing you wrote, be it in English or in our mother tongue? Do you remember? Was it a word? Was it a sentence? No, like mama. Mm-hmm. Your name, yeah, could be. Words. I don't remember. Yeah, I'm probably older than most of the teachers in here, but actually, my first piece of writing was a sentence. It was Anare mere. Yeah, Anare mere. I remember. Yeah, you're right, Sorana. Yes, we are the same generation, yes, of teachers, right. So when we talk about, of course, yes, yes. When we talk about sentences, of course, grammar comes in, isn't it? Yes. And grammar also impacts our students' ability to write a lot in its relevant aspects, such as the sentence mechanics, parts of speech, punctuation. All these are important. I've put here for you some funny, nice activities taken, let's say, out of the box that might help you revise writing now at the beginning of the school year. So, yeah, definitely. The spelling, the grammar, the punctuation are very important. But my personal opinion is that we shouldn't put so much emphasis on them, as it could prove, paralyzing for both students and the teachers, who might feel like they stand no chance to teach or learn writing in their early years. So, my next piece of advice for you is try, and as teachers at primary level, use writing more like psychologists use writing in their therapies, I mean, allow students to actually write and express themselves. Allow them to write, to express their, ideas and thoughts, their feelings. Put them in order. Allow them to, calm themselves and relax through writing. Most of the time, we are very keen, on correcting mistakes. Yes, we are very keen on the accuracy of writing, but fluency actually is very important with primary school kids. So don't let this tyranny of writing actually block our kids' development in writing, sometimes even before it actually starts. Be, mild when correcting. And keep in mind is the fact that actually kids should feel motivated to have a go and then another go until their writing gets better and refines in time. Now, what do our kids like to write about? Oh, gossip, yes, definitely. Video games, definitely. things that interest them, their hobbies, yes. So pets also, yeah. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So the world around themselves, things that interest them the most, their hobbies. Any other idea? From the experience I have in my classes, they all like to write about stories. They like to write stories. Yeah, and you're right. Sometimes their stories are about, I don't know, about their pets. Yeah, about the latest game that they've been playing. Remember my last piece of advice? Yes, use writing as therapists use to allow your kids to express themselves. And in this case, what's most valuable is that you're going to avoid that unpleasant scenario in which kids are reluctant to write because they don't know what to write about. Yes, bringing things that interest them are very important. Yes, and here are a few tips. They still learn a lot visually. Yes, so they still need, at this young age, they still need visual aids. For example, like, what would you pack in your suitcase for a holiday, for example? If it helps, it always helps if I give them the clue in a picture. What else? Allow your students, starting from a picture, to actually free write for a few minutes. Anything that they see, anything that comes into their mind. Yes. You may tell them to ignore the structure or the grammar or sometimes the spelling for the time being. And it's this, we know this one. In thinking skills, this is called a mind map. By organizing, their ideas and producing thoughts, writing words for them, this is very good tactic, for developing the creative juice. So this is one tip. Talk about the picture, write everything that comes into your mind. Yes, even ignoring for a start the structure or the grammar. Then, yes, it's very important to give students in their early ages a starting sentence, because thus they can't claim that they don't know what to write about. Then, as a rule of thumb, anything can be done in a group, collaboratively, except for listening and reading. Yes. But writing is something that we can actually do in a pair, in a group, or as a whole class. And this is something, again, very important, because it always helps students to check or validate their ideas in a group. If somebody is stuck on an idea, then hearing what the other students in the class have to say may be a source of inspiration. And then also talking with a peer in a group setting will make a weaker student feel better, less alone, less frustrated. Yes, because he doesn't have a clue of what to write about. So use pairs and groups in your classroom more to generate and validate ideas. Allow your students to work on most assignments collaboratively, because thus they will be able, to exchange knowledge. They will help their peer with the spelling, with ideas, with the structure. They will exchange writing styles, which will enrich my writing classroom. In terms of structure, yeah, Tom also referred how important having a structure, an organization in our mind, first of all, will become transparent into our writing. An organized mind will produce simple and clear and concise pieces of writing. We all know this is common sense, yes? In terms of organization, again, what we can do is to help them, break a writing task into smaller bits by, for example, giving students helping questions. They will try to address each question by, bringing information, let's say, in a separate paragraph. They will understand that for each idea, for each question that they need to tackle, there will be actually a paragraph assigned. Yes. So this is, some basic rule, but it's always good to make sure that our writing task makes sense in smaller bits and divide it. Then it's always good if I give students a toolbox, which can be, vocabulary that we choose to pre-teach. We are going to see together in a minute. It can be linking words, conjunctions. They are very important, yes, because they help to bring simple sentences together in order to get more complex written messages. Fanboys. Are you familiar with the fanboys? This is how we introduce conjunctions as linking words into our classes. What else can we put in a toolbox? Of course, we can put verbs, verb tenses that I want my kids to use, initial and also transitional phrases. Yes, anything that I consider is helpful at a particular moment in their development. And also, don't be afraid to provide models of good writing. Yes, at this early stage, children do a lot better if they just mimic, if they just parrot, if they just copy. I shouldn't be afraid, for example, to use what AI offer us. Yes, we are reluctant as teachers, yes, to actually approve AI as a tool in our classes, but used with some decency and well balanced, it might actually prove a useful tool, especially for this chapter, for providing good models. Let me just, I made, you see the task here, for example, rule the world. This is one very nice piece of writing that students always like to write about. Imagine that you have been made king or queen of the world. What would be the first thing you do? How would you make the world a happier place? Are you curious to see what the AI had to say? Personally, I'm more in favor of this tool called Defeat. So here is the task that students are supposed to write about. It's the same. And I had this task simulated by an AI generator. You see, this is the kind of text they will produce, for example, for a second grade. What I like is that there are some tips for the summary of the text of the story. There are some key words indicated that, I could use, for example, to enrich, upgrade the student's vocabulary. Then I've got a multiple choice question on the respective story. This can actually be definitely the last step to do in my classes after the kids, did their best actually to respond on a written task. Yes, after eliciting all answers in the classroom, listening to them brainstorming, comparing their answers in pairs and groups. As one step into, validating their ideas, it could be just this model that we can actually use for a lot of writing tasks, such as summary or writing, for example, again, words by dictation, enriching vocabulary. Now, I was talking about making or giving kids a toolbox. In this case, we are giving them WH questions. This is something very to be nicely done with some first graders probably who have some ideas of regular words. They also know this family, very important family of WH words. And now they are able actually to have a carrot or, I don't know, a potato character, having a story about it and producing ideas and short messages that would actually answer each of these questions here. This is one of the most serious that we are facing as teachers back in our classes, this unwillingness to actually coming from kids to actually work on written tasks. But this can also have some remedies, and probably number one piece of writing is to give your students a topic of choice. Let them choose what to write about, and also make the topic of the task relevant to them. I put here, for example, some ideas that we might use now for the beginning of the school year. Let them write about a toy, or let them produce a commercial for one of the things in here, coming together with lots of pictures and interesting words. So let them choose what to write about. Because as a rule, you've noticed, if they take a particular interest in a topic, they are going to write more. They are willing to try harder. Also, what's very important is that sometimes writing for an exam or a grade or a test doesn't bring enough motivation to some kids, especially if they are already struggling with children. So again, what might help is to give them, carefully chosen, unique assignments, interesting assignments, for example, like writing a blog, yes, that they should present to the rest of the class, or writing a travel brochure, for example, for their favorite destination. Yes, I don't know what the policy in your school is. Whenever the parents get involved, it's always better, isn't it? If they choose to help us in the class, and they are willing to work with their kids in a fun and engaging way, again, on very short tasks, very relevant to the kids, then this will show, in the amount of ideas that they will be able to come up in their class. And if they have ideas, this will translate definitely into their performance in writing back in classes. So again, these are small tasks that you can just suggest, I would dare say suggest to the parents for doing at home. Coming back to steps and tricks and tips that we can use in the classes, I'd like to share with you one very nice tool that is called Jolly Classroom. It's been very helpful for the last 2 years since it's on the market. And Cartureș has been very kind to actually provide each of you a trial voucher so that you can access this for free for about a month. The only condition is that you should ask for this trial voucher. You have a button there in your goodie bag, right, Ioana, that it says ask for the demo voucher. Now, this app looks like this. Yeah, for example, we are still at the beginning, yes, right after writing words by dictation, we approach the moment when kids are able to write sentences because they know the 42 sounds, they know one way of writing letters for the respective sounds. So right now they are able to produce simple sentences. And just like I said, the visual aid is very helpful. If the level of vocabulary in my class is not good, I might just go and pre-teach vocabulary. Here we've got, for example, we've got eggs, yeah? They will try and write the words. And then we've got the validation in the written word. We've got eggs. We've got here h, e, n. We've got here nest, n, e, s, t. All these are important words. Yeah, what else? Wing. We got w, e, ng. We've got wood. We've got u, d, wood. Chicks, ch, e, k, s. So these are words that they may need. Remember what is the first step after giving them the visual aid? What do? There's a visual aid. Remember the free writing? The story map? Yes, the writing warm-up. So at this point, I would be happy if they are able to come up with words for things that they see. I would be very happy if they can name nest, shed, maybe, if they can name hen, and chicks, and eggs, and wings. 3, teaching vocabulary. And then in order to write, again, I might be able to use their own ideas. So brainstorm will come first. Usually in my classes, the kids are able to produce short sentences such as, I can see a hen. There are some chicks. So you see, basic sentences. If they are lacking ideas or the vocabulary is very good, I might choose actually to just write sentences about the picture by dictation.
I can see a hen. The chick is on the hen's back. The hen is on her nest.
Using the picture, using the vocabulary that I might choose to pre-teach, and then getting on the point where actually we are writing. So I might use this box on my board to write helpful words that they might use. I might use again the sentences that we've just heard and write them by dictation. I might use a different starter, such as this one.
A hen just sits on her nest.
Mm-hmm. And definitely, I'm going to make the most of the picture by asking helpful questions, such as, what does the hen look like? Is the hen happy or sad? Why do you think she is like that? What can you see? How many chicks are there in the picture? Where are they? All these are very helpful questions that will bring a lot of value for their comprehension with the vocabulary, yes? And by being able actually to develop this story ability, little by little, they will be able to produce ideas for their writing tasks. What else can I do? Definitely, I download this paper, print it out, give each child a picture that they would stick in a notebook, maybe a special notebook, our writing diary. Use this picture and write down together as a group for a start 3 sentences about the respective picture. Collecting pictures and topics and sentences. I think we can do a lot in a school year. Advancing on and doing more. Yes. We might go and talk about a more complex picture, like this one, for example. Yes. Again, the questions will start by checking their comprehension and eliciting ideas, words for the things they see. My next step will be, for example, to ask them, what is happening in the picture? What do you think has happened before? What do you think will happen next? Because thus, this will be room for the kids to actually use a bit of grammar and use, their present and the past and the future tenses of the verbs. Yes. Then again, the writing warm-up that you mentioned, and I hope you feel confident now on. Yes, we can start by labeling things. Yes, but actually the next step would be, I want them to join those words, yes, and come up with ideas for a continuous flow of their thoughts. So again, helpful words that I might provide my kids, be it vocabulary, Here, this kind of picture will offer, enough food to revise or learn marine animals. For example, they are able to grasp a starfish and shark and octopus and jellyfish. Yes, I might also highlight a bit, for example, the tricky spelling of a word like swimming, anything that you consider will prove helpful for your kids. And then I might take this challenge, this further step into their writing development, to actually give them a starting sentence.
The little fish was swimming along, enjoying the waves.
Yeah, I might write it on the board in here and just ask them to think about what will happen next. What do you think will happen to the little fish in here? Yes, again, this task will work better if done in a group, in a pair at least, yes? Let them produce ideas. Let them write collaboratively, because this will boost their confidence and the weaker students will no longer feel alone. Again, using the same, yes, you go from here, download, and use this for the classroom project as another topic for us to write about. I know that writing can be frightening, but I think that with a bit of planning from us, the educators, and with little practice from the kids coming every day or every English class, I think we can do a lot. I think we should use writing to know them better, to let them express themselves. I think we shouldn't, use grammar or spelling to block this flow of writing. I think we shouldn't rush to assess them in their early years, or we should actually be very mild when assessing them, because what I want them to do is, feel motivated to give it another go and another go and another go until, getting able to come up with sentences, expressive pieces of writing that would guarantee their success, in communicative writing, in their future exams. I'm very curious to hear your feedback. Just have in mind that writing is a long process. Yeah, the app looks nice. You're right. Yeah, give it a try. Again, Cărturești will be willing to provide a trial voucher for about a month, but I'm sure you'll fall in love. It works perfectly with young kids. It gives you lots of ideas. It saves you a lot of planning and a lot of energy back in your classes. Yeah, may you have a smooth school year.